Hi, how you going?
Thanks for coming.
Oh, that's okay.
You're the artist?
Yeah.
I really like this one.
Thank you.
Oh, look how beautiful they are.
Oh, they are really beautiful.
Yeah. It's like a model.
Oh, yeah.
Are these all models or something?
Yeah, I don't know. They look like something out of a magazine or something. Hey, like they're about like to get a makeover or.
Yeah, like some look like they have had a makeover.
Yeah.
And some look like they haven't.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's got before and after. Is that a before
She's
and
had a
after
makeover. Look at that. Yeah.
Excuse me, but this work, these are actually, in the US we have a database of girls and children, boys, all children, but these are mainly teenage girls that are considered missing. They're endangered runaways. They've run away from home.
That's really sad.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah. I was actually really drawn to it though. But yeah, it does bring up a lot of different references and feelings. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of other interpretations do you often get with this kind of work?
Well, I don't know. You said that it brought up some feelings and associations. So what were you thinking?
I was thinking of like school photos and school
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
I mean, they're all really beautiful. Like they do
really
look like
are.
models as well.
They all, and the funny thing is they all kind of look like they're from the same kind of age range, or even the same kind of year, like class year, like you said, school.
Yeah.
So like class year.
15.
Yeah,
Like that,
yeah.
Do you get anything more from the work?
Well, actually, it does have a very serious tone to it.
There's some sad eyes around as well. Like if you look carefully, there's some really,
Yeah, the eyes are quite powerful.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is they're all really staring back to you. They're all images that are very engaging. Yeah.
I really like how they're all staring.
Yeah,
It's really good. It's sort of like they're powerful as well as sad.
They are quite powerful.
Yeah.
So where did you get the images?
These come from an online database. So
that's right, the
basically,
database,
if a girl is missing, then their family can post a poster on this database that this child is missing, and often they end up in grocery stores or post offices.
Do they put them on the back of milk cartons as well?
Is that just like,
not so much anymore.
yeah, it used to be.
I think they would have to be, usually that's one particular child. But for me, my work tends to deal with trying to bring attention to sexual assault and violence against women and girls.
Yeah.
And a lot of these girls will actually be targeted for sex trafficking.
Wow.
And so,
Oh, they are really beautiful.
I mean, if they're 13 years old
I can
and
see why like how people would, try and exploit that. But that's the funny thing about that age group is everyone is beautiful, but they're also really vulnerable at that age as well. It's quite an unfortunate mixture. Yeah, and it makes them quite a bit susceptible to that, doesn't it? I mean, there's so many of them.
So are all of these girls still missing?
yes,
Yeah.
they're currently missing.
Yeah.
So when their family puts them on this database, do they put lots of pictures of them or just like one?
Well, usually there's one or two, but what's really sad is in some cases it says one photo available and it's a very blurry photo. And then you start to think who only has one picture of their child.
Especially like with iPhones and stuff. Like
I know.
We take about 100 photos a day,
A day?
of each other.
Yeah, I'd say that, yeah.
How can someone just have one?
If you went
photo?
missing, I'd have to put a gif of
Yeah.
like 100 photos
Yeah.
of you, I think.
But how could someone just have one blurry photo?
Yeah, and it's
really
like
sad.
a bit crappy. It's like a crappy one.
That's
yeah.
really sad.
Yeah, because look at that one. That one's a bit sort of, like that's a bit almost, that's just a bit distorting. Like how are you supposed to recognise that person?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about your texture that you've done with the work here. I'm talking about, you can tell the actual photo that was taken. Yeah. Yeah, some of them do look quite sad. Some of them do look happy though, but they just still look like they've got something behind that happiness.
Well, also some of the photos were probably taken before there was some kind of family disruption that made them run away.
Right.
And that's what I actually find so fascinating, that you do see in some of the pictures this hope, this youth, and then you start to wonder what happened.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's pretty extreme when you're 13, 14, 15 and you leave your home with no money, no skills, no, you know, how are you going
how are you
to
make it?
I mean, if something is so bad that you feel to go and live on the street, then that's quite
which is a really
extreme.
unsafe place to live.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like what happens in your neighborhood?
Well, people
there's-
play music loud in their cars and
They
strut
do
around.
drive-by cruising and a bit of that stuff. But yeah, I still wouldn't want to be out just living on the streets. Like, I don't mind going out on the street on a Friday or a Saturday or a Monday or a Tuesday.
Biggest problem is now with these online sites like Craigslist. Basically, what you can do is place an ad, and the girls are being sex trafficked so much because it's easier to get a girl, a 13-year-old girl, than it is to get a pizza from Domino's. And what happened is all of the men that are arrested, they go to support groups and they get counseling and they get therapy. And there's all this support for them. Well, the girls, they end up arresting them and they put them in jails with shackles.
What?
Because there's no homes for the girls. There's no support system for this. And they were interviewing the judge, and he said even though he feels horrible that they're there, he's afraid if he lets them go that they'll end up dead. And that's what's happened with a few girls, because they go back to the streets. And obviously the pimps are very aggressive.
Oh, yeah, they'd have
And
their
they
claws
put,
right into them.
yeah, and they put a lot of pressure on Craigslist because Craigslist was free to shut down their site, and they did.
I've heard that they have.
Yeah, and there's another site called Backpage.com where you pay $5, and within 1 month their sales went up $1 million, and there's a projected income of $20 million that year just from the sale of teenage girls online. And you don't have, before you would have to go to a bad part of town, there would be more risk of the public seeing you. But basically now they put the girl in a cheap hotel room, the guy goes online, he books his girl, he goes there, there's no stigma. It's not the same kind of ritual that you used to have to go through.
Mm-hmm. It's easier.
Yeah.
Just like everything these days with the internet and things, it's so much more instantly gratifying and just far too easy.
And I think that's how we deal with information as well. We see these pictures, they're there, oh, they're missing, they're gone, they're this, oh, bad day, bad story, and then we go on to the next event or the next catastrophe or the next social problem.
Meanwhile, what's happening to the girls? What happens to them after all of this?
Either they'll, like I said before, they'll end up in the shelters. Hopefully, other women that have been through this might be helping them. Probably most of them had bad family situations, so maybe it's too far gone to go back to their family. But most of them will become victims of sex trafficking.
And then what kind of quality of life do they have after that?
Well, I think they're basically used, abused, and they feel pretty much disposable and worthless. So I think building your life after that, especially at such a young age, when I was 14 or you were 14, what were you doing? What were you worrying about? What were you thinking about?
So, do they have a hope in getting their life back in order after something like this happening to them?
I think that there's always the hope, but if there is not public awareness or interest that this is happening, then the hope is obviously much smaller.